So y'all, if we have therapy, if you have therapy, you know anyone that has therapy, that needs therapy, please encourage them to get therapy, because at least it's a start in the right direction. We've got to help people. So it's very difficult for me. I've been doing it since I was 16. It's very difficult for me to not help. I'm always giving of myself. And that's the joy that I get from doing that. But communication, you have to find out whether the person wants to receive that information, whether the person actually wants to be helped, even medically, So that is something that I'll have an issue with, but it's something that you got to be at least gentle and give the person the benefit of the doubt that they have a decision and they have a right to say yes or no or refuse the help, which is their prerogative. There is a limit to effective communication. That means we are not going to keep on going on and on and on and on, hitting our head against a brick wall, trying to get this person to understand what we're saying. We can't. We can't keep on doing it, because we're going to not only injure ourselves, but we're going to get nowhere. The person has to be ready for that information. The person has to be wanting to get that help from you or from anybody. So there is a time that you just zip up and forget it and say, you know what, I'm not giving any help here. I'm actually doing more harm by nagging, and just stop. The person has to be ripe. I like the word ripe because it's like, you've got to be ripe. You've got to be soft and in that sweet spot before we can actually get through to help, not fix, to help the person see that the communication is the issue. Bad communication leads to either no communication and a disconnection because no effort's been made, or bad communication can lead to better communication when you do put an effort and then you connect and you do realize that you're getting somewhere. That's the game plan, right? We change our bad communication and make it better, but it takes two to tangle. If they don't want it for themselves, they will not want it for you or me. If they don't want to improve their communication for themselves, they're not going to want it for us in a relationship. So remember that. If they are not willing to do something about their issues, they're not going to do it for us because they're not even putting themselves first. Inability to communicate can lead to frustrations, anxiety, sickness, relationship problems, family problems, failures, recurrent failures in life. And that's how you know that there's something wrong. Innately, you know, okay, what's going on in my life? And you just know that you're not getting to where you should be getting to in life, your purpose, your path, right? We talked about that yesterday. So you want to speak to that energy and you want to be able to release the pain, release the sorrow, release the grief, release the bad memories that you've had so that you can move on. Remember, even if the person's passed away, you can still imagine the person, be in the room with the person, and communicate. And you'll get a lot of relief from that. You have to talk about how you were hurt, how you were maltreated, how it bothered you, why did it happen. Um, have an explanation, if the person's alive, that will satisfy you. Just ask all the questions that you can when you actually go back to the source. You want to do it because you want to give yourself love. You want to show that you care about yourself by addressing and confronting people that have hurt you and harmed you. Now, again, like I said yesterday, got to be careful. Make sure it's in a safe place, but don't carry it. You don't want to be walking around with this pain and this emotion that's not been resolved, because it just eats into you and it actually probably can create physical ailments that you're not even aware of, like an ulcer, very common, stress ulcers. Um, you've got to give yourself grace. You've got to give yourself love to be able to do this and to accept that these things have happened. But you have to speak to someone, to hold someone responsible for your pain so that the person knows and you've got it again out of you. So it's released. So it's not within you eating you up. So you confront them to be able to learn to manage it better, to get peace for yourself.